Of legislation that's been proposed by U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan that would basically impose the death penalty on a federal level for anyone who is convicted of attacking a police officer with a weapon. The Protect Our Heroes Act of 2016 is what they're calling it. A minimum sentence of 20 years imprisonment if a deadly weapon is used in an assault against officers, judges, firefighters, or members of the National Guard, plus at least 5 years imprisonment for ambush attacks. He says if you want to kill our protectors, that's a hate crime. The Anchorage Police Department Employees Association says that 240 officers were shot in the line of duty nationwide in 2016, and at least 60 of them died. The president of that union is encouraged by the proposal. What's interesting about this to me is the issue of dehumanization, because that's one of the cases that they're bringing for why they need the death penalty, is because police officers have been dehumanized. The problem I'm having with all of this is that in terms of police officers being dehumanized is that police officers also dehumanize themselves. Whenever you're acting agentically, in other words, you're, quote, just doing my job. I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to pull you over and write you a ticket because you were going 5 miles over the speed limit. I'm just doing my job. It's the same kind of attitude that has been adopted for eons, going all the way back to Rome, probably all the way back to Babylon. This idea that somehow, well, I'm not acting as on my own, I'm acting on behalf of the king. I'm acting on behalf of Caesar. I'm acting on behalf of your elected government. I have to do this. It's just my job. I don't mean anything personally against you by making you pay money that you don't have for doing something that you didn't know was wrong. I'm just acting on someone else's behalf. I'm acting as an agent. That is dehumanizing to yourself. And I implore people, look at these people as people, both ways. Regardless of the color of the skin, regardless of the color of the clothes they wear, there's a person in there somehow. You think about it, the guards at Auschwitz hung as people because they themselves not only dehumanized the people that they were exploiting and punishing for imaginary infractions, they themselves also dehumanized themselves. I want to turn your attention to Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He was a Soviet dissident who wrote a number of very good books, among them Gulag Archipelago, and there's another one, The Day in the Life of Viktor Ivanovich, something like that. Anyway, look him up. Part of the issue that he wrote about that got him in trouble with the Soviet authorities, that he criticized the way that they had elevated the police to this special status. When you start giving someone special status, you attack just regular Joe on the street, well, you're going to go through the court system, and whatever you get, you get. Or you attack a police officer, you get the death penalty. This is something that needs to be considered, and we need to stop looking at each other as less than human. This is, I'm imploring you here. This is my commentary. I'm not calling for, I never call for violence. I am calling for people to start looking at each other as people. That means that whether you're in the military or whether you're a first responder or whether you're some Joe on the street, look at the other person on the other side of that and think for yourself, and do not act like an agent, or you are dehumanizing yourself. That's my 2 cents. You have a reaction, send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. If you like what I'm doing, please become a sponsor. You can do so through my Patreon link, as well as directly on the website by buying a subscription at radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.